All right. Well, I'm not gonna really wait too much because this will be an extension of the next video. Some people are gonna come back, some people won't. But I think I left off in Y2K. So on the so-called conscious experiential level, you had people locked in with the internet, an extension of the 90s and the plastic era, the snuffing out at that time frame of what they were calling gangster rap in order to hide the revolutionary rap that was actually happening. How's the audio now? It's cool. So activating the boy bands. Thank you. So activating the boy bands in the 90s, making that maintain starting to like amplify the control, the controlling of the narrative to be focused on that plastic shit. Staled out in the 90s. This is why they came in with a war. Nothing positive was used could control anybody anymore. So go with the negative again, the fear, boom, war. At the same time, while people are scared, like they do with all this other distractive shit, all this Diddy shit, while they're doing one thing with the right hand, they're doing another thing with the left hand. So while they hit you with 9/11 in 2001 with the right hand, they also hit you with the left hook of the internet, which was actually the bigger problem, like the CERN to the NASA, the internet to 9/11 was of the 2000s to set the tone for all of the whole new millennia. So you were thinking it's about war, and the majority of the people in power focus on, oh, this is about war. No, it's not about war. The focus, the distraction was the war to maintain control through installing the internet, social media, and your relationship to that in by activating the internet in the early 2000s and late 90s. So this is what I'm saying. The 9/11 to the internet relationship is the same relationship that NASA is to CERN. On a large scale, CERN is going to be the bigger problem because it's going to tell you your relationship to reality. No different than NASA telling you your relationship to reality. They just use puppets. Now they're going to use movies, holograms, all kinds of shit. All right. 9/11 of the protests where they were like, okay, we're in charge now. We're going to say what we should be talking about and what we should be doing and here in this encampment and da 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 da. And this is what we should focus on. This is what, and oh, you shouldn't talk about that. No, you shouldn't talk about that. We should focus on this. It was that kind of stuff. So that was the birthing, like the uh, the manifesting of what wokeness was to be started at that time. Oh, you fucking bugs! I've been out for hell long. Um, it started at that time, and now it's born into into something that you could use. So this is what they're using right now. So you have people who are calling themselves woke, being proud of it, understanding this idea of wokeness, and the idea of self is a word. So the word has to stop somewhere. The words are dead. All this word information, it's all dead. All of it. So you hold it all on a pedestal. It's a way to control your narrative. You use it for something. These things largely are used for limitations, dead words, anything. It's all used as weight, ultimately. Storylines, we hold it as weight, regardless of what you want to call it. It becomes weight. And the programming installed into the decades of conditioning is meant to add weight to your experience, to weigh you down. The physical body, the food, is one example of that. In this country, the obesity program is through the roof. The physical is going to mirror the psychological, and the psychological is going to mirror, and both of them are going to mirror the spiritual relationship that you have with your reality as a whole. So the words are used to control the masses. And then we weigh them down. We weigh them down by activating the stories in how we tell our narrative to ourselves. And we're speaking our narrative to ourselves through their tongue, a forked tongue. And that forked tongue is the narrative that is, the way it's forked is by having a narrative out there of how you should experience your reality, what you should focus on, what's important. That is the forking of the tongue. The mainstream media is the forking of the tongue, because you still have to have your voice. And if they can censor you, if they can shut you down, if they can tear your whole story out of the book, the ability to do that can only be done by forking a tongue. If you do that, you have to tell that lie has to be carried by you every time you tell any story. This is why, back to again to why our story is so important, is because telling our story is the freedom for people to tell, for stories to be told. If you can't tell a story, you can't tell the truth. You can't have justice. This program, these systems are designed to inhibit justice. Economics goes into Neely Fuller Jr.'s codification, the locking down of your economics, your education, your entertainment, your labor, your law, your politics, your religion, your sex, your war. All of it is locked down. It has a narrative attached to it, and that narrative is designed to destroy your narrative, make you hate your own narrative, make you separate yourself from your narrative, and tell that separation story to the next generation. And like I said, all this stuff happens at certain time frames. So you're studied. We are studied. This is like I said, this is a mirror image of the military soldiers who are, before they test their vaccines and their mind control programs on you as a mainstream civilian population, it's first tested out on soldiers, because they don't have any rights. Soldiers are numbers in a bucket of shit that the government cooks up as a stew to sell, to distill to some degree And that alcohol distilled out of that is sold to the masses as reality. But they've already studied you because they studied all your family members who went to the military. I have generations, like the last 5, 6 of my father's fathers, all in some sort of military. So I have a responsibility to speak for that as I'm here. I don't know where it comes from, but it's there. Now, I'm not the only one, and it's very important. And along with that, goes back into, like I was saying before, why our story is so relevant and so rich and so powerful is because as soon as we start to tell our story, that story, and being able to tell your story is in itself a form of justice. Being able to tell your story is a form of justice. We are being held back from so much simply because it makes the normies uncomfortable. Those sitting on that pedestal is going to affect them. So your story needs to be dismissed. Enter in Matt Walsh, enter in Joe Rogan, enter in Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, enter in Michio Kaku, the weather manipulators and NASA. Enter in every other distraction out there to make you focus on something that they say is important. Enter in all of that. Enter in all of that. Yeah. I'm gonna shut this down a little bit. I think I pretty much got the gist. So even the making famous of MTV and what they focused on, like David Bowie was talking about how no so-called black music was on MTV at that. Even David Bowie was saying that shit. So that means there was an intention with this. So they added a visual aspect to musical vibrations, which is cutting to the core of who and what you are. So they could generate it all. People, people completely cut their ties with their own drum of their ancestors, and now they're all rock heads or whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's a narrative. They don't have their narrative anymore, and that was a codified narrative that was pumped out to the masses. Is the live stream still going right now? I know the last one somebody mentioned right now, the live stream got broken. Is it broken still right now? Yeah, Yo MTV Rap, Save MTV. Somebody in the comments tell me if the live stream is still up or not. Because it says it's going, but it's only like... I'm not seeing anything in the chat. It was buffering bad. Okay, I'm good now. Okay. So, yeah, MTV that activated... What was activated with that time frame in the 80s? It was a relationship with musical vibrations, which is storytelling. What stories were being told in that era? What's in general? If you put a people that look a certain way on a pedestal, this is what that did. This is what they did with Elvis. MTV Elvised music. They put what Elvis did to music and rock and roll as a whole. MTV did. MTV is the Elvis of music, and that was the intention back then. So let me go back to what I was saying. Yeah. So the reason to do that was to affect your relationship, your storytelling, your narrative through vibration, through music. Like sex controls you through your reproductive norms. Like you're wired to do a certain thing, so they control it by hypersexualizing your reality, locking you into a mindset, and keeping you in a certain narrative, a narrative that you run for yourself on a physical state, on a psychological state. It affects you the same way. And all of that is the it's the vibration of your all of that is the vibration of your time frequency. So your what you're putting into your moments. So this is how you can affect change on your own, like learning how to learn on an energetic level. It's a whole bunch of fucking words, I know, but it if you distill that down to what it is, it has there's it's there. It's yeah. So let me just go back and close this out. The usual theory, yeah, exactly. What it is that is counter to your code, like putting a round peg in a square hole. It's just not gonna work. It's not designed that way. When we interact with our own story, with ourselves, with each other, something else happens. They don't want you to do that. This is why you have to repeat and tell their stories. Your music, this is the main thing in your music. Your music is inundated with love, in order to lock down this whole idea of relationships from the perspective of that emotional frequency that isn't connected to the roots. It's connected to the fruits at the best, but it's just the branches, not even the fruits of the branches. It's the idea of the fruits. But the real love exists in the roots. This is why your connection to your child is your connection to your ancestors, your connection to your story. All of that needs to be shrunken down, and the life needs to be sucked out of it and turned into social media. Oh shit. It's good now? You said it was going off and coming back on. I think when I switch back to the notepad, it gets like slow or something. Fuck. So I don't even know what was heard last. Was it? If you can help me out, what was the last thing you heard? And when it did go out, was it completely off? Yeah, that is why all the best rap is underground. Okay, I think it's good now. I'll just try to focus on. I'll just go back and forth quickly. I think when I leave it on the notepad and come back, it just makes it buffer. So, um, Where did I leave off? What was I talking about? So the stories, your story. Let me go again. I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so love, yeah. So the function of love. And this is why the minds of the masses, the adults, need to be locked into a child mind. They need to be adolescent at best. Because it's easier to control a child because they move from one attention span. The attention span is so small, and in that you can hold on to nothing. There's nothing to hold on to, so they have to make your mind that experience the norm, because people who act like that, adults who act like children and think like children like that, are easy to control in reference to they will not think for themselves. And even if they do think for anything, it will only go so far. And it'll be dissolved into the brain of a child. And they'll move on to the next thing. In fact, that is the code of moving on to the next thing. Like I said, when you tell your story, what's the next? What about this? What about this? What about this? It's all moving on to the next thing. It's a very childish approach to a discussion. So, who does this namely come from? So-called white people. They had another proof of the childish mentality of the approach to our, which is dismissive nature. It's a code. So, I wonder if this would be. How's your book? Oh, much respect. Thank you for that. I think I'm hoping because these lives usually do stay on the channel. I can't take them down, or I mean I can't obviously take them down, but this is why I'm doing this live so I don't have to edit later. I used to do them like this a while. My old videos used to be like this, um, but this makes it easier for me because I don't have to do the work twice, and I can get more discussions out there all at one time. Anyway, but um, the book is on pause right now because the everything is changing about it, because it was based upon the content on the channel, which is cool. I still might do that. Also working on resources to get that done. I want to do it the right way, and I'm still allowing the right way to form naturally, whatever that is. I don't want to just do something and just to do it. So, let me move on to what I was saying next in reference to the function of love. So, the love as a function, babies growing, babies learn through storytelling. So, storytelling is another thing why that whole relationship needs to be attacked. Getting to your children early is a form of control. Putting broken schools in your community is intentional. If that is the case, more evidence for why we are saying what we are saying and what we are doing what we're doing in reference to holding these entities behind these events accountable by at least documenting it in the ether of saying it, because it needs to be said. It needs to be documented. It needs to be spoken and understood and heard out loud, because it's the truth. And there's a justice that needs to come about from many other storylines that are connected to this. No one is better than the other. They're all one storyline. The point is, certain people certain groups, certain mindsets, whatever you want to call it, however you want to approach it, have a way, a natural way. It's like healing yourself. You're not going to want to put something on a cut that is going to make that cut worse off than what it is. You're going to want to put something that's on, and also you're going to take into account your body. You don't want to have an allergic reaction. You don't want to put something on there that's going to make it worse. So if somebody else who's not of your same family, your same body, telling you how to heal yourself, there's a very good chance that they're going to tell you some fucked up shit and you're going to end up re-injuring yourself. This is what BLM and wokeness is. It's a re-injuring of ourselves because we are once again taking our approach, their approach to our story and making that the focal point. And you're not going to heal it. You're not going to see any wounds to be healed in that approach. It's not going to happen. And if it does, it'll happen on a very shallow level, and that shallow level will usually loop back into itself as you like wiping all these bugs off me. It'll loop back into itself. Maybe I'll put this on. It'll loop back into itself as control. So bear with me. All right, so let's go back. But the shortcomings of your superheroes, your celebrities, is put on blast. It's amplified, while the shortcomings of the people who represent, who look like them, is covered up and downsides. It's belittled to be not an issue. This is how another form of control, psychological, for you to control yourself. You see yourself as what celebrities are amplified in their mainstream. So they tell you that you're a beast, that you're this, you're that, they show you the story of certain people's actions to reinforce the mind controls that they've installed with you over generations upon generations. So this is why they have to go and always. So this is why Bill Cosby and the R. Kelly, it's not just for them individually. It's so they can be the butt of the joke in the comedic. So information comes through comedy as well. Discussion, like information is shared through comedy, podcast, especially nowadays, podcasts and everything. So when they talk about Bill Cosby, or somebody tells a joke about Bill Cosby, especially if a so-called white person tells a joke about Bill Cosby, and this is why they have nighttime, those late night talk show hosts, because that's not just a late night talk show host. That's a representative of so-called white people that is speaking to the world of everybody, and especially with special attention with so-called black people. And this is why they tell jokes that in the information, the way they speak to you and through you, for you, is with demonizing and putting people on blast out there like O.J. Simpson, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly, and P. Diddy. Meanwhile, there's how many different people out there? Vince McMahon. The list goes on and on. The essence of this debauchery, this shit. What were they doing in the chattel slave time? They were literally breeding you. This is what they're holding this dude accountable for. They were the original sex traffickers. That's what chattel slavery is. It's the original sex trafficking. They were trafficking not only you for sexual purposes, they were trafficking your entire family. And then on top of that, labor laws, trafficking, and then child labor shit. All this is all generational shit that hasn't even been allowed to been brought up to the discussion to be effectively looked at. Like, if this were to be the case for so-called white people, they would have they would have TV shows dedicated. History Channel would be so focused on, the devastation of and how they need to recover from this, how fragile they are, about all that shit. And this is why they're selling this idea of masculinity, not because they're strong, but like Democrats are to Republicans in the manosphere, in the masculine world online community discussion. These dudes are only masculine because there's a group of other dudes that are hella feminine and hella weak. And not to say that femininity is weak, but just in a masculine mind control mechanism, it's designed to instill weakness when it's expressed through a masculine format. So just like the Democrats are not cool because the Republicans are racist, or the Republicans are not cool because the Democrats are crazy and just ridiculous. That's not real. That's make believe. It's all made up, and it's meant to have the same effect. So, chat. Yeah, you're not super masculine and strong because liberals exist. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. That's the most basic ass shit ever. And you're not, another thing is, you're not strong. Social media doesn't make you strong. Like, you're still just a regular ass dude. You're just a person. Like, followers and all that. Money is the same thing. Social media, money is just physical social media. It's the same garbage. It's designed to inflict an illusion on the people that are looking at that bullshit. It has an intention there. So creating that manosphere and that whole idea of this is what masculinity is, with people like what was that dude's name? Fuck. It's getting late. What was that dude's name? That got arrested in Romania. Anyway, you did those people. Fuck, whatever his name is. Much love, Warrior Up. Thank you for the support. Appreciate that. I think I might be doing these lives more often. Andrew Tate, yeah, thank you. It's a hell of a lot easier, and I do get in some good flows that aren't really. Maybe I'll clip them later or whatever, but anyway, it's good to interact with the people on this channel. I really appreciate the engagement. They're a very intelligent group of people, so thank you for that. So yeah, the Andrew Tates, like these are cartoon characters for narrative storytelling. So he's the cartoon character for what a man is in Republicans' eyes, and then you have cartoon characters for what a woman is in the Democrat side. So you know, like Kamala, and you know, late night talk show hosts do this for who's a smart man, a strong man, a confident man. This is why they have all these late night talk show hosts, is to create an identity and a comfort. That's another thing, a comfort. Like we're so comfortable in how the story's being told. We'll just tell the story every night. Uh, and and make it look like it's for your benefit. The let's see. So remove it from love is a function. Let me close this out in a little bit. Okay, yeah. So holding you to the highest of standards. Holding you to the highest of standards, and covering up the storyline that makes him in it. Okay, yeah. So back to the people. So this is why all these people are being exposed, the Diddy stuff and all this other stuff. It's also to take control, like I said, control of the time. How long it takes to charge somebody. They can control that. And how and the stories that are being told when that's happening, the stories that are being told before it happens, after it happens, how much time does that take? How much focus is on them only? When there could be a focus on the industry. Why are you focusing on one manager in an industry of nonsense? That alone should raise a few antennae. Like this is an industry of the worst type of people, the worst type of actions. They're engaged in some of the deepest, darkest shit that's out there, and they get paid for it. While you're busting your ass just to survive. So the romanticizing of that storyline is sick in itself. It's really sick. And I just saw some crazy shit in the sky at night. So yeah, it's anyway. That all to be said that the controlling of the narrative is a very big weapon, and the way it's been codified in a sense over the decades is very obvious. It's recognizable. It has a very obvious focus and intention. And what we do with that information is what adds to that ability to take back your narrative. Take back the more you shut down of what's being installed into your belief system is going to amplify your ability to not only tell your own narrative, but expand, dive deeper into that narrative. And that's what these systems don't want you to. This is why. So ending off in this is why the 10-year program exists in the first place. So that's pretty much what I have for this live tonight. This is 39 minutes, already 40 minutes. The other one was like 80, 90 minutes or something, so like an hour and a half. Yeah, maybe I'll... It's just so easy to do this on a phone real quick. There's that whole... What kept me from doing lives is I'd rather do it with a better production style, and like even like a podcast and stuff like that. This is kind of on a tie-in to the website and all this stuff. But yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think about the live and that whole vibe. I'm definitely gonna do it again. It's just a matter of getting deeper into it. You know how people do live streams and they get all like really into it and do all the, that's cool and all, but that kind of defeats the purpose of why I'm doing it in the first place. Is to it's quick, it's easy, it's on the phone. Turn the phone on, put the microphone in there. That's good. It's good. Right on. Thank you for the support. So I'll leave it there, and hopefully the channel stays up. Like I said before, anytime I upload anything, they're on it to remove something else, and if they find something else they want to remove and give me another strike, then it's it's the end of this YouTube stream or this YouTube channel altogether. But like I said, most stuff is on Rumble. Maybe even I'll start thinking about doing live stuff on Rumble. But while this is up, I think this is a good thing to do. Thank you for the support. Yeah, they're shutting down hard. So thank you again. Maybe I'll just live stream this on out and see how it goes, and then just kind of add to the collection, and no longer just leave all the flows in the queue. Get them out there. No need to clean them up. Put them out there live. Interact with the chat. I think that's probably a good idea. So we'll see. There was something else I wanted to. Damn it! I wanted to say something else. I'll remember for the next one. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for the support again. And have a good night or wherever you are. Peace.